All right. Hello and welcome to our final two. Congratulations, Jonathan and Austin. You made it farther than 18 other players could, and now is your chance to let the jury know why you believe you deserve to win this game over your opponent. So, how tonight is going to work is you are both going to give opening speeches, which you guys will have 10 minutes for, and then we will turn it over to the jury. We have like some are sending questions, some are watching on Zoom, some are watching off Zoom. They will all have at least 10 minutes. They do not have to use it all. And then after that, you guys will have your closing speeches of 5 minutes. Austin, as the winner of the last collective trial, you get to decide if you would like to go first in the opening speeches or go second, keeping in mind whichever you pick, you will do the opposite in the closing.
I am going to let Jonathan go first in the opening.
All right. With that in mind, Jonathan, you will have 10 minutes on the clock to say why you deserve to win, and Lily will be giving you time updates as needed.
Okay, perfect. Just rolling up my speech there now. Okay, cool. Do I just go whenever?
The floor is yours.
All right. Well, so hello everyone. So first of all, I would like to thank each and every one of you for such an amazing season, from the players to production. Y'all have made this season of battle since day one, and I can't thank you enough for being willing to play this season alongside of me. Um, So coming into this game, I had no pre-established connections. Being one of the newer players in the community in the cast, my competition this season was 19 brand new faces standing between me and my possible win. So throughout this game, I made it my mission to develop strong social connections throughout my inner circle and the greater collective as a whole. Starting with my inner circle, while other circles were having a battle for the jury, I constantly worked to ensure that members of my inner circle could count on me while reassuring them that I'm their best bet to make final two. From round one, me and Morgan as well, we created an image of being a pair that can never be broken up. We were a pair of fun-loving icons, and we were having our best time being surrounded by two really strong competitors in Austin and Cam. But as much as I love Morgan to death, getting to the final two with her would have been extremely unlikely. From the beginning, I had a final two with Cameron, but I also made, just before Cameron's eviction, I also made a final two with Austin. And let me be extremely clear there. I was the one that approached Austin about that. Austin did not convince me to save him or pitch his loyalty to me. That was always my decision. And I was never really loyal to a player to go to the final two with. I always played this game day by day, and I always had a greater plan in the back of my mind on how I was going to proceed. So onto the collective as a whole. I made the collective about 6 times throughout the game, while Austin made it about 8. So my strategy for the competitions was just to do well enough to make it into the collective. And if I couldn't, have the right people that would have my back to make sure that they would be able to save me. I never wanted to ever get first in any of the collectives. I never wanted to have that target that many of the people in this competition had. Managing my threat level was super important for me. From the beginning, I did little things to make sure that I was able to appear as a lesser threat. One thing would be my Zoom name. It was always minuscule. I never had anything capitalized, just to create the illusion that, yeah, okay, he's just vibing, he's just doing his little thing. Um, as well as constantly bringing up how I'm still pretty new to the org community. This is my first non-text game, as well as assuring that people constantly were reminded about the pre-existing connections coming into this game, and as well as the obvious pairs that developed throughout the game. People always assumed that I was worse in competitions than I was. I remember having multiple conversations with people throughout the game. They're like, yeah, you were in the collective like once or twice, right? Whereas at that point, I was in the collective 4 or 5 times. I always made my threat level smaller than it actually was. Um, and I always made sure that I was on a call with somebody to make sure that I was good with somebody. So, down. Sorry, I lost my place in the speech. 1 second. Um, yeah, so without the, as well as the outer circle, I've also had people from the greater collective also willing to save me at times that I wasn't in the collective as well. So I had people like Kitty and like and like Roberto and Dylan's move to blindside Cameron to help me make it further in the game. My loyalty throughout the game was always to one person. It was to me. My moves were calculated, clear, and concise, and they were always for the goal of making it to the final two with me, for me. All in all, I played this game with a lot of heart, compassion, and drive. I always did the move that benefited me as an individual to ensure that I would be able to sit here and explain why I deserve to win this season. The connections I made with all of you were always extremely genuine, and I wanted to make sure that I was loyal to myself and the people that I want that around me. I also want to add that I also was never in one fucking location throughout this game. I was constantly adapting in and outside of the game. I was having 2 a.m. calls with Roberto and Yellowknife. I was having work calls with Vicky, seeing the oh my god, I'm so nervous. Fuck. the oh my god, sorry. Seeing Vicky's work in Newfoundland. I was having good morning calls with Ketty in Edmonton. I was kikiing with William in Calgary. I was scheming with Austin H in Vancouver. I was slaying the end game in Vancouver. And here I am in Toronto for the grand finale of the season. I never took my pedal off the gas. I was always a low-key player in this game, but that was always on purpose. I never touched that block, despite having multiple occasions that I could have. I worked with everybody collaboratively to make it to the end. I made sure that I always had as many moves as possible to be able to maneuver throughout this complex game. And with that, I look forward to your questions, and may the best man win.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. And Austin, you are up.
Alrighty. Well, first, I do also want to thank everybody that played, plus production. Specific shout out to Jeremy for pestering me multiple times in my Facebook DMs to fill out application and play. Was really nervous with how the season started off with me being on a bachelor trip, whether or not that would just completely sink my game and I wouldn't have a real shot. But I'm glad I decided to just go for it anyway and apply. This game was run absolutely amazingly, and the competitors and people that I met really made this experience for me. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for giving me such a great competition, but also just being such incredible people to get to know. So I'm sure you're looking at me here in the file too, being like, what's Austin doing there? Wasn't he supposed to be out at like final 17? Because that's what I thought. But here I am. And I want to kind of talk about how I'm here. I went to write a speech and I hated it. I threw the speech I wrote out, but 3 things in it did stick to me. It was 3 words that I felt perfectly summed up my experience in the game. And I'm a sucker for some alliteration. So these are the 3 aspects of Austin's game. They are authentic, attentive, and adaptable. These are 3 things that I think were crucial to my game that I think I used really well to get myself here. As far as authentic, I always did what I said I was going to do. I said that from the beginning, and I always meant it. I know not everyone always loves the honest game or the not lying game, but I didn't ever for my game feel the need to do that, minus when I did lie about having a power. Like that was the only time I lied. Was a couple people asked me what power I got, and I said that I didn't get a power. Other than that, I always said what I was going to do and lied to a minimal extent. Honestly, I can't think of another lie. If I did tell one, someone can bring it up, but I can't think of another lie other than saying I didn't get a power when I did. I use that authenticity in the game, especially when my back was against the wall after losing Noah, Casey, and Cody. Very early on, 3 people that I felt a really close personal bond and even game bond to. Going into that final 16 round, I felt absolutely down and out on the bottom on my way out. But I stuck to my game plan, continued to work on relationships, and went to Cam when he won that round and was like, look, I'm with you. I've been with you. This is how I'm playing. Got him to save me, which gave me a nice little round to reestablish some nice personal connections. As far as attentiveness, that was also when I really started being more attentive in the game. I started listening more and watching more the conversations that were happening around me as opposed to talking more in the conversations. I started listening more. In doing that, I was able to learn what the relationships were like in the game, who was closer and who was more connected to who. One of the things that I learned the most at that time was how close Ketty and Jonathan were. Um, and I took that information to kind of talk more to both of them, more positively about the other, to hopefully they would talk to each other and be like, Ketty would tell Jonathan, yeah, Austin is saying these good things about you, or vice versa, the other way around. All of those things that I would say being absolutely true, but making sure I said more to those people about certain people. Also, using that attentiveness to learn what was valuable to different people. I obviously was having multiple people come to me asking me if Cameron was my final two, and he was. But I tried to downplay it until I couldn't anymore, and it just was obvious. So I just was like, yeah, Cameron probably is my final two. But I never closed off options. Jonathan was always another option I was thinking. I was also always thinking of maybe if I could find a way to get to the end with Morgan, I could do that too. But one of the things that helped me with that was knowing how close Ketty and Jonathan were. Me and Ketty had a conversation where Ketty started to tell me some of the things that Jonathan had told him about what type of player he was looking with to go farther in the game. And so I would start to create, and when I would have conversation with Jonathan, I would start to exude more of those qualities that Ketty had been talking about. And then adaptability. Like I said, my options, I never closed off any options. One example in particular was when I found out that Laura and Andrew were trying to plan the tie vote against me, even though that was a plan that never really came to fruition and everyone said they were never doing it. The fact that it was still spearheaded by Laura should have completely destroyed any chance of me and Laura working together. But I never shut Laura off like that. I continued to keep a good personal relationship going with Laura, and continued to use Laura to gain information. But also, I knew so many other people had that negative view of Laura that I could also have her potentially as a shield, which did come to pay off in Live Night when not only did Dylan save me that round in order for us to get rid of Laura, but then Laura saved me on her way out at another crucial point in the game. Some other things that I just want to talk about for my game. I had 8 collective wins, which was the second most in the game, and I came in first place in the last 2 collectives. Seemed like a lot of people were really scared of William in this game. I was never scared of anyone. There were people who intimidated me, don't get me wrong. Roberto, William are 2 in particular that come to the top of my head as badasses in comps, but I was never afraid to take them on. I was saved 6 times in this game by 5 different people. The only person in the game who was saved by more unique people was Ketty. I was never nominated the entire game despite the target I had on my back from the final 16 on. I always either won the competition or got saved some way, somehow, to get myself all the way here without ever going on the block. One of my strategies, like I said, was being authentic, always doing what I said I was going to do. But I used that to my advantage. When I would vote in the minority in the early rounds, a lot of people think voting in the minority is a negative thing. I spun it to be a positive where I could then present myself as a loyal ally to people moving forward. That I said I was doing what I was going to do, and I always played my game. I never let anyone else dictate what I was doing in this game. I always played the game I wanted to play. The power I used, the power I had, I didn't end up using. I did use it as more of an information tool, sharing what my power was with one person in each circle to bring them closer to me, to gain a little bit of trust in each circle in the game, to gain more information and have more options for myself moving forward. Last thing I want to say is no, I did not approach Jonathan for the final two. Jonathan did approach me about us being a final two, but I did what I had to do to make myself Jonathan's best shot in the game. Jonathan may have come to me about it, but it was me making myself a attractive final two option for Jonathan by winning, by coming first in competitions. I never tried to diminish the threat level because of a target. I already had a target. I had no choice but to just keep going, keep winning, keep trying my best. And then the last thing was, while I made 8 collectives, most of my collective wins were later in the game when there were less spots available, which in my opinion does make them slightly more appealing and intriguing. I look forward to your questions. Sorry if I rambled, got off track, but it was all just off the cuff tonight, which is how I've been playing the whole game. But I love you all. Can't wait to answer questions and explain my game some more. I look forward to it. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Austin, and thank you, both of you. At this time, we are going to turn it over to the jurors. And as requested, Ketty would like to go first. So, Ketty, the floor is yours. Your time to begin when you start talking.
Good morning. Just took a 10-minute nap. I had production ping me and tell me that this is happening. So I'm a little bit groggy, but it's okay. So first off, I want to give you guys a congratulations because in a format like this and a bunch of twists and like that, it's not that easy to get here, especially coming from the most unserious circle this season. It's pretty iconic that you guys did make it, I'm not gonna lie. Also, before we start, let's just say that for both of you, the fact that neither of you really included me that much, I think I was the one that really pulled you all together. I had to stretch a lot of shit on both ends to really make sure you guys were talking. So, next time, just don't forget to include me in the copyright. So Austin W., I'm gonna start with you. What I can appreciate from your game is I can appreciate the physicality standpoint. I definitely think that you were able to win competitions when you needed to, and I think it gave you power in this game. I can appreciate that you were blunt about saying what you were doing. I think there's two big parts of your game that are really hard to assess. I think the first one is I think that they kind of go hand in hand is kind of the social game, right? It kind of just seems like you didn't have a lot of agency in this game. It kind of just felt like you were able to win competitions or people were able to save you. But it seems like when people saved you, it was if Austin W goes up, he more than likely goes home. If Austin W goes up, he's for sure going to have a hard time staying. So, from that aspect, what I would like to hear from you is can you name one decision that you solely made with your social capital in this game to get you to a certain point in this game to make it to the end?
Hi, Ketty. Thank you for that question. I appreciate you. One decision that was solely mine that I made in the game. I'm clicking through them. Hold on. I genuinely do believe that my choosing to vote in the minority, despite knowing like it wasn't always that I was voting in the minority and I didn't know that the person was going. My early decisions to vote in the minority, I think, propelled my ability to connect and get people to trust me moving forward. I knew Noah was going. I knew Cody was going, but I still stuck by them to increase the likelihood that people could trust me going forward because I stuck with the people that I said I was sticking to.
Okay, I can appreciate that, but I'm looking for a specific move with agency. Like a moment in this game where you use that social capital to push an idea through. Can you name me one time in this game where, well, let's say voting a minority. Can you name a time in this game where because you vote in the minority, you were able to create strong social connections and have social capital to influence or make a decision that you solely or had heavily contributed to?
Honestly, I cannot necessarily think of one move that was just my idea, or that I pushed through. One of the reasons for that being that after those first few rounds where I did kind of put myself out there, it felt like the target was so big on me that I needed to kind of fall back in pushing the ideas, um, to try anything I could to maybe reduce the target on me. I felt like if I was already continuing to push it physically, where I already knew that people were looking at Cam as the other big competition threat and Lara as the other big strategic threat, I never wanted to push myself beyond them to get myself in a position where people would target me first. I always wanted those two shields ahead of me so that they would be picked off before me, and hopefully I could get to a point where I could then win or have the correct people still in the game, or I had built social bonds enough to where people, like you were saying, people said, oh, I'm going to save Austin because if Austin ends up on the block, he's going to go home. People still saved me because they didn't want me to go home at that point, which I think is still my social capital saving me at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay. I can kind of see that. You said something in your speech earlier about being attentive, and like I will say that going into this, I think that you are the underdog. I will admit you're not my cup of tea game wise because I feel like we talk game very late in the game, and I feel like you were very close off. And I do think that you are right. There were bigger targets, and maybe that's why people want to keep you here. But you said that in the game that you were attentive. So I want you to really own that later in these questions, that you were adaptive and attentive. Because if you can answer this, I think that you could be a shoo-in to win. But you really have to own it. Okay. So thank
Okay.
you for that. Jonathan, my petty Pookie.
Hello.
My petty Pookie. If you would have told me the week before me and Austin H went home and this was the final two, I would have 100% said that you would have had my vote. Um, so this is the thing for me.
Okay.
I feel like you had a good social game. I feel like strategically, I think you were actively involved. I think I mean, I picked up on it and I was like, I have no idea where he's really going, sometimes and all that. So I have two questions for you, just curiosity. So
Absolutely.
first off, let's say that you and Austin W won the collective.
Yep.
I don't know how many spots are left, but what would been your dream order from like final 8 on? Like if you had it your way, who would be like your dream final 8, final 6, final 8?
Sure.
Because yeah, because you said that you're very connected with a lot of people. So I'm
Mhm.
just curious to know like what your boot order would have looked like.
Yeah. I mean, from the final 8, I mean, I was always scared of William in this game. That was always something that it was happen. I love William to death as a person, but William and Chloe would have been the next to go. And then it would have been Roberto and Dylan, and then you two, simply because I think that you two were the best option for us to beat in the final competition. Also, I just fucking love you anyway. So it was like, of course, I want to spend as much time with Ketty as possible.
Thank you so much. Now, second question.
Hmm?
So finish drinking your water.
I'm thirsty.
Okay.
Quenched.
The one thing that rubs me the wrong way
Okay.
is I feel like a lot of times in this game you lied or beat around the bush when you didn't have to. The
Okay.
one thing that I can respect about Austin W is that he didn't do it as much, really. 2 minutes left. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Especially the round where Cameron got voted out or like blindsided. You know, I was very upfront about a lot of things in this game. And I think a lot of people are also very interested. There's actually really good reason for why you probably took Austin W over Morgan. But the instance where I said, hey, what about the whole Morgan thing? And you're like, oh, yeah, like it's okay if Morgan goes home. And then you didn't say anything. And then other people said it and I had to confront you. It's just one example with me personally. But my question for you is, do you feel like it was really necessary to lie for moments in this game when you didn't have to? And do you have any regrets on that?
Um, it was more so that I wasn't sure of my decisions in the moment, especially in the Cam vote. Um, I thought I was always going to vote out Cam, but there was a moment where I had to lay out all my options. And I did code to you later in the day and say that I was voting out Cameron. But yeah, I did lie in unnecessary moments, and sure, they weren't necessary. Um, but I always tried to keep the peace in a little bit. Sure, I will admit it was a little bit cowardly on my part, but it always was to make sure that I'm in everybody's good graces at the end of the day. And I apologize if I did upset you in that moment, because I know that vote, there was a little bit of tension between us just because we were, yeah, because I did lie to you about wanting to vote out Cameron instead of Morgan.
Okay, awesome. And right before I go, one last thing for you. I gave Austin W some advice, and then for you, I think you just need to be really blunt. Like, I think you need to lay out on the table. People know you've lied. People know that you've made decisions that kind of had side eyes. Like, really own it. I think you're being a little bit too nice, and I think you're trying to be too flattering. And I think that if you can cut the bullshit and be real and try to be cutthroat like you were in the game, I think it's gonna work out a lot better for you when it comes to this jury.
Thank
So
you
thank you
so
both.
much, Ketty. I hate to cut you off, but that is your time. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Ketty, for all your words. And up next, we have Miss Topher.
Hello, 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 hello. So long. It's been forever and a day since I have seen either of you. I hope you are both doing very well. Okay, so here is my question. And it's going to be the same question for both of you. I want you to role play just a little bit, okay? It's been, I don't know, the game's been over for, let's say, about 2 weeks now, okay? And you have lost. You lost. You came into this. You had no chance to begin with. It doesn't matter what you said tonight. The jury wasn't voting for you. You have lost. I see you again in a future game, okay? And we're hanging out and we're chatting. Or maybe you came and you play Kaleidoscope and I get a chance to talk to you on a personal level that's not involved in the game. I want to know from you, tell me why you were robbed. Why did the jury get it wrong by voting for the other person? How did you get so screwed? Tell me why you should have won and yet you lost. I want to know from you why you were robbed, because it doesn't matter who wins. I'm sure at some point you're going to feel you were robbed, and I want the truth. Why did the jury get it wrong by voting for the other person when it should have been you all along? Whoever wants to go first. Jonathan, you go first.
Absolutely. So I was robbed because I was always in the middle when it comes to the game strategically. I was always involved in almost every single vote. I got my way every vote except for the vote that Morgan went home, and that was mainly due to a miscalculation in who to take to the final two. I did work out for me, obviously, so I'm not upset about taking Austin. But the fact of the matter is, Austin was always the loudest voice in the room, and that rubbed people the wrong way right from the beginning. First, he was inactive, then he was loud, and now he has come to this game as some sort of underdog when that was never the case. Austin was always one of the biggest frontal targets of the game because of the way that he came into the game. I was able to adapt and was able to calculate every single person. To be able to work with me, to be able to collaborate with me, and to make strategic decisions with me. I believe that when it came to a greater collective, which at the end of the day is what this game is all about, I was able to put myself in the middle of all these decisions, whether I was the one being in the forefront or in the background. I knew everything that was going on in the game. I knew every power except for the one that Austin had. And I knew most of the information in the game, as well as creating bonds through calls, through text, through everything. And this was all while not even being home at any given moment throughout the game. I played a great adaptive game. I was never on the block despite being a weaker competitor than my adversary here. And I know that at the end of the day, it's my destiny to win this game.
All right. Austin, why were you robbed?
I was robbed, Topher. I was so robbed in season 2 of The Collective because the jury didn't vote for the person who fought his way here, who got himself and his partner here. I'm the one who won the last 2 competitions to get us in these spots. I'm the one who took down the Goliath that was William. Not Topher, Roberto said at the round Morgan went home that I was supposed to be going home that round. Not only that, I was supposed to be going home 5 rounds prior to that round. But I'm here, and it's because I got myself here through winning competitions at crucial moments or building enough one-on-one deals. Despite I had one alliance in this game that got blown up the day after it was made by one of the people who decided to make the alliance. I had no more alliances throughout the game, which may be looked at as a downside. I didn't need them because I used my one-on-one social connections with people when I didn't win competitions to get myself saved, or I just won the freaking competition. And at the end of the day, I fought my ass off to be here. And if the jury doesn't respect that style of game, that's why I was robbed.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you. You know, regardless of how the jury votes, whether you win or lose, you did what nobody else in this game this season has done, and that was make it all the way to the end, which is an incredible feat. It is very difficult to do, and both of you should be very proud of yourselves. You know, I think that either way this goes, we do have a deserving winner. I don't think that either of you will truly be robbed per se, but you both do deserve to win, and it's going to be a good result. And I'm proud to have the ability to say whichever one of you ends up winning the collective. I do know where my vote is going tonight, and I appreciate you both. Thank you so much, and hopefully we do have that chat 2 weeks from now, and I will 100% validate your feelings as to why you feel robbed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Topher. We are going to quickly see if we can get Morgan back on. She is actively at work. If you both want to take a drink of water and breathe for a moment.
A hardworking lady.
All right, Morgan should be coming on in just a moment. Look, it's Morgan at work. All right,
Hi.
Morgan, you have 10 minutes, and your 10 minutes begins when you start
Oh,
talking.
I don't need 10 minutes. I'm so sorry. I love the both of y'all. Um, so I guess really thank you both. We were obviously the best circle. Because somehow I made jury and the two of y'all made it to the final.
Hell yeah!
We munched. So Austin, we didn't really talk really at all in this game, and I know I can say that about a lot of people with me in this game. So it doesn't really like, for me, it's not really like something that weighs heavy because I didn't talk to like 80% of this cast a lot. But Jonathan, we did talk quite a lot. So my question is, did you have a final 2 with all of us?
Yeah. At different points of the game, at the beginning, I only had a final 2 with you and Cameron. It wasn't until just before Cameron's eviction that I made my final 2 with Austin. I always wanted to have the option to choose between one of the bigger competition threats in our circle or you if we had the opportunity to make it to the end together.
Yeah. I respect your social game because your activity is typically my activity, but just like with this game, I just wasn't able to. So I think making a final two with a lot of people is risque. But like for me, I guess it just wasn't like it's not that deeply because I know that I was not going to get you to the end with my ability in competition. So you made the right move because Austin W really did that. um so yeah, I just like I think it's incredible that the both of y'all made it to the end, and then yeah, again, how I'm fucking here still. um I'm just like gonna tune in. I'm gonna like be off camera and listen to both of y'all talk about your games. Jonathan, I kind of know your game a little bit more, kind of, because we kind of talked. But again, like what Ketty was saying whenever I was on with Austin, like I heard your intro and I definitely feel like obviously you have a game to speak on, but like again, like the communication was not there. So like I feel like Jonathan had made riskier moves, but he had the capital to do that with his relationships that he had. Which and he never got like in my opinion, I don't think he was ever like targeted because he had that social capital, whereas your name was out there a lot. So winning challenges is important and figuring out how to get saved. I mean, Jonathan saved you over me. So
I got saved by 5 different people in this game.
I
yeah,
saved
so
you 3 times. It's just the one you went home at.
well, and also, I will like to point out that from my circle, Austin W is the only person that didn't save me the entire time.
I needed to build social capital elsewhere using my saves, girl. I knew you were picking
Yeah.
Jonathan over me. I did try at one point with you. I did try to like throw out the bone of like, hey, maybe we need each other. And
Yeah,
that conversation just never went anywhere. So I was like, well, I'm gonna put my attention elsewhere.
something that Eddie said as well is like I think like I talked to Cameron more even and we didn't even talk that much. Like I talked to Cameron more than I talked to you, unfortunately. So like I think like what Ketty is saying is like there is a social aspect of the game that I feel like a lot of people can say that maybe they didn't have that with you. But yeah, I'm just gonna like listen. I still think it's incredible that our circle like made it the farthest and that 2 of y'all are there and I'm here and I get to vote for one of y'all. So Jonathan, thank you so much for getting me to the point that I got. Because my ass would have been yeeted. So yeah, that's all. Bye.
All right, thank you so much, Morgan. And Miss Vicky, you have the floor.
Oh my God. And you guys can't see me. This is honestly so disrespectful, not only for you, but for me.
We can see you
Oh,
now.
you're good now. You're good now.
Hey, besties. How are you guys? Don't answer that. That was rhetorical. Anyways, so honestly, I was gonna come in here and I was gonna be a bad bitch and read y'all to filth. But sadly, I don't have that bone in my body half of the times. The other half, like you can see at the round table, I did pop off a little bit, but I'm afraid of confrontation and I don't want to do all of that. So, my questions. Okay, we're gonna do one serious one and then one funny one. Okay? Austin, how much did the conversation that we had when I got voted out impact the game that you played for the rest of the season?
It in the moment impacted a lot. I forgot about the fact that they delete our conversations, and I so badly wanted to go back and read your messages to me several times in this game, and I have the memory of a fucking goldfish. So once they deleted our chat, I remember you read me for filth. I remember it. But I definitely did use our conversation to try to adapt my game. Again, it's really hard for me to put my memory back in that place and remember exactly what you said that I then changed. And so like it's really hard for me to give examples, but I do know that things you said had an impact on me, and I said, shit, Vicky's right about this, that, or the other, and I need to do those things differently. And I did try to kind of I do remember something about you saying like people were upset with me about like the Casey round and the Cody round, and I never really understood what was up with the Casey round. So I went around and started asking people about what the Casey round was, and either I got met with people weren't upset with me for it, or they gave me the thing of like they were upset because you didn't save her when people thought you were close to her. And I was like, well, first of all, I wasn't in the collective, so I couldn't save her. And I did vote to try to keep her, and I did try to campaign for her. So I did use that to kind of like remind people like, hey, no, like I was still loyal to my girl. So yeah, that's how I feel like at least aspects of our conversation did impact. But it was a huge wake up call for me. And I do feel like from your conversation on was when I tried to put myself more in high gear.
Mr. Jonathan.
I miss Vicky.
I don't even know. Because I always felt like our relationship was way more personal than game. I understood why you would want to save the people that you saved and do the moves that you did, because for me, you had a very active game.
Yeah.
Like you were always talking to people and you always had something. I know at the round table yesterday, we talked a little bit about how you were wishy-washy with a lot of people on who you would take to final two.
Right.
And you explained that in your introduction speech, and honestly, good move. You basically found yourself in a move where you were able to, you guys were the last collective standing, and that was not collective, circle standing. And that's great. Not only on you two, on Morgan, on Cameron, you guys were just OP this season, and honestly, I demand a rematch. But my question to you is going to be, what is one move that you genuinely regret doing?
And I genuinely regret doing. Sorry, just give me a second. I think that throughout this game, you're right. I could have been more direct with people throughout decisions that I was making. I do think that I was able to navigate the circles the way that I wanted to. I do think that there is. Sorry. I'm trying to think of one specific example. I think the main move is an overall thing. You're right. I did lie way too much. I guess I was like trigger happy about it. I don't think I really lied to you that much. You can correct me if I'm wrong for sure. But throughout this game, I know that everything that I've done, I was selfish throughout this game. That is what was apt to happen. The connections that I made with people were always genuine. You're the only person in this game I have a fucking snap streak with. Like, you're an icon for it. But I think that the game, either everybody was playing around me to benefit me, or I think that also I was also just able to like sneak by some rounds as well. So it's like a lot of the moves happened around me. Or I was directly involved with it, but the ones that I was directly involved with it, I don't regret in the end.
Okay, now my fun question. If you could eat a piece of fruit in this moment, and it can only be one piece, what piece of fruit would you eat?
I'll go first. I would eat a blueberry because they're very unassuming, they're sweet, they're very versatile when it goes into their baking ingredients. They're able to go into many different things. My personal favorite is a blueberry duff, which is a Newfoundland specialty. So if you ever come to Newfoundland, I will make you the best blueberry duff you've ever had in your life.
Austin?
Whoa, I had the answer too, but it doesn't. Of all those reasons, I would eat a piece of kiwi because about like an hour or two ago before this, me and Ingrid were just scrolling Facebook Reels, and someone ate a kiwi, and I said, "Damn, that looks fucking good." So I would want to eat a kiwi.
Amazing. Okay, guys. I think people have mentioned this before. Just own your game, own getting shit on, own getting praise, own everything. You guys are here. You made it here. Y'all worked your asses off. You lasted a month. I didn't even last a week. So, in the grand scheme of things, what really was my impact of this game? Probably nothing. And that's just me being selfish because it's my moment to shine. Anyways, you guys are both amazing. Austin, I really, really wish that we had more game talk. Jonathan, you know I love you on a personal level. I also wish we had a little bit more game talk and that you would actually like save me, but no, it's fine. You could have saved Morgan, and honestly, Morgan deserved it more than I did. So I love you both. You guys made it. You're here. You're queer. You're ready to persevere. And yeah, I have nothing else to say. I love you all. Peace out, Boy Scouts. Vicky out.
Thank you so much, Vicky. And Dylan, the floor is yours whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I had questions prepared, but you've already answered them. My hair is a mess, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. I think you both have done great tonight. You both have sold your games very well. You both killed this game. I think you both played very different games, but you both did it very, very well. I'm still very undecided, so I'm gonna have you guys pick a number between 1 and 50.
42.
42 for Austin.
All right, 41.
Okay,
Sucks for me, probably.
I'm done. Love you
I
guys so
was-
much. Congrats.
Love you. I was banking on the pot.
All right. Thank you, Dylan. And William, we will pass it over to you.
This is crazy because I just got here, so I have no idea what's been going on. Um, so love that for me. Congratulations to you both. All the good things that people have been saying. Super proud. Great games. Snaps to you. All the wonderful things. I don't know what anyone's asked. So if I ask a question that has been asked, just let me know and I'll figure out how to get the information. I think my first question is, where in the game did you face the most adversity? And then how did you come back for that?
I can go first. I think, I mean, me and you have talked. You know my adversity throughout almost the entire damn thing. I think probably the peak was around that like post Cody vote out, tie vote plans, trying to still find a way to get me out even after I'd already been saved. And it's honestly, I don't know if it's just me not realizing how much people needed or wanted in terms of social game. But I thought for me that I adapted by becoming more social, and less just strategic with certain people. I acknowledge when Jonathan said earlier that I was inactive at first. I was in Disney World for a weekend. But as soon as I got back, I tried to like put my foot down and get going in the game. And I think maybe I overcorrected, and like Jonathan was saying, because then I was very loud and it got that target on my back. So I think that round is kind of where all that coalesced, was after Cody was going, and I was so vocally trying to gain the support for Cody. And I think I adapted by taking a step back, actually, and trying to listen more and just have more personal conversations with people as opposed to trying to game with people. And yeah, I think that's how I adapted, because I think that really helped me decide better who I wanted to work with moving forward from there, getting to know everyone as people more than I had before.
All right, same question, William.
Yes.
Okay. I think the round that I had faced the most adversity was actually the round that you saved me. When Benji went home. That round, I was quite frankly, I was a mess that round. I think, well, you especially, William, you knew that. So going into that round, I think the only person in my collective was it was either Austin or Cameron. Can't remember which one at the moment, but I knew that they were going to save each other. So when that happened, it was probably my biggest like breakdown in the game wise. I had another personal moment that we all know about, but that was not part of the game. That was just life, and it happens. But when that moment happened, when I saw the collective, I just started freaking out. I think it was mainly all in my head for the most part. That was also the round that I went, because Live Night was coming up. I wanted to go to Laura because she was one of the only people in this game that was against me, and I needed to try and get her on my side. It didn't work. So I went to her and I was like, hey, I think with Live Night coming up, we need to make sure that we can get ourselves a jury. And then obviously she went to Austin W and you as well, William, and she just put it all out there that this is what I'm saying, this is what Jonathan's saying, this is what he's trying to do. And then when you approached me, we had one of the realest conversations that I've had in the game. I think that was one of the conversations that I've had that was completely honest. I owned up to what I did in the game, and I don't know what your reason is for saving me that round was, because I know we were close, but at that point we never had tested our alliance. So I was unsure where your head was at. I was unsure where Ketty and Austin's head was at, because they had this big plan to put themselves on the block. I wasn't sure if they were actually going to go through with it or not. So at the end of the day, it came down to the trust between us, and I wasn't sure if I could fully trust you at that moment. So I was freaking out, and I'm glad we did, because we made the Final Four together. Even though you are a fucking beast, and I did try and get you out before that. But I fucking love you, man.
It's actually a great segue to my next question. Who the fuck started the shit about me getting me out and made it this whole thing that everyone wanted me out? Which one of you was it? I know it was one of you. Which one?
Are you? All right, hold on. I think we need to.
Whatever.
Are we-
Okay, so basically, y'all both would be like, everyone wants you out. Everyone wants you out. And I'd be like,
Oh.
who? And y'all wait and say who. So,
No.
did y'all do this to get in my head and make me very paranoid, or was this actually a conversation?
I had been having conversation with people where I had been just pointing out people who were very good at competitions, and your name obviously comes up when that happens. And when that happens, people then respond to me saying, yeah, William's someone that we're going to have to take care of at some point. So when I told you that, that was genuine. Like, those were conversations. I don't know if technically I started that in those by like bringing up people who are good at competitions, but like when I would talk about good at competitions, I wasn't just talking about you, I would talk about Cam as well.
I will say that I was one of the people that pushed Austin H to save you. I think you already knew that.
I did.
Yes. Yeah, like you were such a big threat. And I knew that looking back at the collectives throughout the season, I beat you a total of 2 times. One was a social comp, and I forget the other one. But like the odds of me and Morgan beating you at the end in an honorable way, just wasn't going to happen. So I had to be sneaky about it, and I had to make sure that I can do whatever I could to win this game, and getting you out was the avenue I had to take. And obviously it didn't even work. So you guys got me there.
I always wanted to beat you by beating you in a competition. That was always my goal.
I
This is the
appreciate
amazing race
that.
now.
What'd you say?
But
What?
this is the amazing race now.
Hey, I still own pathetic move, but I'll respect it. Um, Honestly, that's it. I have opinions, but y'all both did well. Y'all beat me. It's great. I'm excited to see who wins. Bye. If I can turn off my fucking camera.
All right, William, thank you so much. And we are on to our last juror, Miss Chloe. Chloe is unfortunately unable to speak, but I am going to be the voice of Chloe and she will be the face.
Can you do it in her accent?
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
That
Chloe
might be offensive.
Chloe asked, as a person, I play orgs in order to have fun and make friends. So, what is your best personal moment that you look back with fondness on? When did you have the most fun or laugh the hardest? And I'll have a second question after, but whoever wants to go first for Chloe can go first.
A conversation that like just popped into my mind when you mentioned this. There was a night that Ketty sent me a voice note. And it started with Ketty asking if we could have a call. And I was like, I had promised Ingrid that that day I wouldn't do any calls because I had spent so much time focusing on like the challenge or whatever that had been going on. So I was like, I'm gonna give her her personal time. And Kay was like, well, can you text? And I said, yeah, I can do text. And then Kay sends me a voice note, which I'm like, this is still not really texting, but I'll listen to it anyway. And it's Teddy telling me that he's like finally ready to target like his circle. But like I don't know if I don't know if it was like the audio or if Ketty actually was genuinely like nervous because I really didn't know Ketty to be a nervous person. But Ketty's voice sounded so nervous to like approach me with this idea. And then I was like, when you say target your circle, do you mean Benji or Billy? And he's like, no, I mean Benji and Billy. And I was just like, oh, period. That's already the plan. I was like, I already want you and Austin. So it was like, it was having fun in the game of like this moment where I felt like Ketty was coming to me with like this very like vulnerable moment. And it ended up being so funny because I was like, oh, Ketty, you don't need to be nervous about that. That's been the plan the whole time. And then we like really got into like one of our first bigger like game talks together. And he sent me a really nice message that has stuck with me through the whole time where he was like, girl, you have such a gamer brain. Why don't we talk more game? Um, and it was a moment where I was just like having a lot of fun with someone in this game. Um, and that's my moment.
All right, my moment was my first call with Morgan. So this was probably, I don't know, round 3, round 4, and Morgan finally has time to get on a call with me. And she just spends the entire call not even talking about the game with me. She's bitching about whatever the hell she wants in this game. She's talking to me about work. She's talking to me about her other game that she's playing with. She's going on about, I don't even know. She was just like popping off the entire time, and I couldn't breathe the entire time. When I laugh really hard, I have this seal laugh. I actually won an award for my laugh in high school and university. They were both different titles. So I had most contagious laugh in high school and most likely to die laughing in university. um, but oh my God, that conversation, I was like, because I saved her a couple times, but like the only time we really talked was like in our inner circle chat and like a little bit privately. But when we got onto that call, that was when I knew that she was my girl because she had me busting. I think that humor is an amazing quality, and Morgan is one of the funniest people I've ever met. She is just a light, and I loved playing this game with her. Yeah.
Thank you both for those answers. I'm sure those did Chloe some good. The other question that Chloe has for y'all, what aspect of the game did you enjoy the most and why?
Oh yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, you know, it really was the personal relationships. If I was just playing this game to play a couple competitions, this wouldn't have been my game. I wouldn't have signed up. I know I'm like average at competitions. I love playing social games. I love connecting with people. I love talking with people just because whether I'm bored or I want something to do, I love just meeting people all around the world. Like it's so cool that I can just connect with people from the States, from Ireland, from Canada, fucking Malaysia, wherever. And I love the connections and the friendships that we bond before, whether we're just friends in the game, whether we're adversaries in the game. I respect everybody fucking here so much. And hey, private message me for my social media if anybody wants to talk after this game, because I fucking love every single aspect of this. You guys made this so much fun. This is my first game like where it's like a video, and you guys proved to me why this is the superior format for sure. Laughed way more in this game than I ever have in the past.
Man, now I kind of wish I went first, so I'm going to end up saying the same thing. But no, I mean, I've now been playing orgs for 10 years. I started in 2014 when I was like getting out of high school. And when I started, I definitely was playing because I was like, oh my gosh, I love Big Brother Survivor. I want to like play the game. But like, what has kept me coming back for all these years is the friends I make throughout the game. Like, not obviously not this game, but the way I met Ingrid was playing an org. Like, these games have brought me so many of like my closest people in my life. And that continued through this game. I met so many people that are so unique, and some of them are so funny, some of them are just so smart, some of them are just some of like the sweetest, genuine kindest people I've met in a long time. And like, I mean, let's look at the other aspects of the game too. Competitions, yeah, I did great, yeah, they were fun, but they were stressful because I had to win them. So no, those are not my favorite thing. The strategy, a lot of people kind of like pushed me aside because of the target, and I didn't feel like I was able to strategize, so that stressed me out. Building the relationships and making friendships in this game was what was the most fun and most enjoyable thing for me.
Thank you both. And on behalf of Chloe and all of Northern Ireland, thank you so much. With that, you guys have been through all the jurors who plan on being in attendance tonight. So at this point, we are going to send you guys over to your final speeches. And Austin, you will be going first.
Yeah. Whew. Thank you guys for really bringing it tonight. Those were some of those were really fun questions. Some of those were really tough questions. I appreciated all of them. To those of you who we really didn't get that much time to talk, I know everyone's busy in life and I don't want to use that as the excuse, but I think for some of us, our schedules just never really aligned to where we were able to get those talks in. And I do wish we had, because everything I've heard, specifically, I want to refer to like Vicky and Morgan, everything I've heard from so many people is how absolutely iconic and wonderful you both are. And I got tastes of those in our messages, but I really wish we had gotten a chance to really get more in those. And I got to see more of those personalities as I wish I would have been able to show you guys mine. Yeah, I mean, my game is most people said that they were able to see most of my game. It was out there from the start. Um, I really came in swinging, and I got my ass handed to me a little bit for it early on. I needed to take the step back. Um, I know it's not the most like strategically dominant game and pushing moves and getting things done that like were solely my decision, but from that moment of final 16 on, I busted my ass to get here, whether it be from winning competitions or making like strategic or social, however you want to classify them, bonds with people to get me saved. I was saved by the most different, unique people in the game, with the exception of Kenny being saved by one extra unique person. I won the second most collective comps, which is one of the biggest aspects of this game. I came in first place in the last two competitions where the fewest number of people can even make the collective. Um, I truly feel like I do deserve this win. Jonathan also deserving, but I just feel like I had to fight harder than Jonathan to get here. And I really hope that that earns the respect and earns your vote tonight. Regardless, I love you all. Jonathan, I love you. And thank you guys all for such an amazing season. I really would love your vote to win, though.
All right, good to go, Timmy.
The floor is yours.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you so much for all of your questions tonight, and the passion that you shared throughout the game, and just our questions tonight as well. So during the game, I was able to form vast social connections with the majority of players throughout the game. The ones that I wasn't able to form connections with, they were either pre-merge or there were targets for me to go very early in the game. Throughout the game, I was able to make alliances with the majority of you. If not, we had a very strong social connection. I was able to never touch the block despite not being in the collective 8 times. The other times I was able to win myself in despite not being a competitor. But I always put my best effort in, even though it's just not my vibe. For a lot of you, I use the fact that we couldn't go to the end together as an advantage by hyping up the fact that we can always take out the stronger competitors that aren't in the each other's circles, as well as diminishing my threat level to put more trust onto me. I was always thinking about where the votes are and how I can get the votes to go on the way that I want to go for every round, except for when Morgan went home. I felt that I played a really strong, dominant social game while I was driving the bus. Austin never made it to the bus stop. By voting for me to win this game, you are voting for somebody that is able to work together with everybody collaboratively in order to achieve a common goal. The two of us needed each other to survive in this game. We saved each other at different moments in this game. And Austin, give it to his credit, he did win those final 2 competitions, and I'll give him that forever. Because I needed somebody to get me to the end, and Austin was that person. I truly believe that I harnessed the qualities needed to win this game. I had originality in my gameplay. I made firm decisions to enhance the position that I was in. I used the collective to benefit me. I had the perseverance to outlast the greater collective. I was able to lay out a sequence of the greater picture of the game. I went the distance to make sure that I was always safe. I was constantly on the hunt for my next prey. I was able to distinguish which players were lying and which were genuine to me. I endured many of the twists and turns in this game, and I deciphered which moves I needed to make to the end. I de-escalated any targets that I had on my back, and I truly believe that it is my destiny to win this game. In the end, I'd like to give a shout out to production, everybody in the game, everybody in real life that had to deal with me playing this game. And last and more importantly, I would like to give a shout out to Lord and Charlie XEX, because at the end of the day, inside of the icon, there is a young boy from Newfoundland. And please make that boy the winner of the Collective Season 2 Destiny.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Austin, and thank you to all the jurors who showed up tonight. With that in mind, all of the jurors, please send in your votes. If you did pre-vote, please just bump that up or tell us who you will be voting for. We are going to be inviting the pre-jury in here as we do have awards afterwards to give away.
Jonathan, go to the main chat real quick, please.
Are we allowing the pre-jury to come in now, correct? Because I just already admitted.
Yes.
Okay. Oops. We have another pre-juror joining us.
Oh, it's Billy Vance.
It is Billy Vance.
All right, final two. The time has come to reveal the winner. We will go vote by vote until someone has a majority of the votes. We will begin with Vicky. Vicky has voted for Jonathan to be the winner of the collective season 2. Austin H has voted for Austin W to be the winner of the collective season 2. We are tied at 1 vote apiece. Roberto has voted for Jonathan to be the winner of the collective season 2. Dylan has voted for Austin to be the collective winner of season 2. We are now tied 2-2. Chloe has voted for Austin to be the winner of the collective season 2. William has voted for Austin to be the winner of the collective season 2. The vote is currently 4-2. Ketty has voted for Jonathan to be the winner of the collective season 2. The vote is 3-4. Topher has voted for Jonathan to be the winner of the collective season 2. It all comes down to Morgan's vote. The winner of the collective season 2 Destiny by a vote of 5-4. Congratulations, Jonathan. Very close vote. Great job to both of you guys. We're very proud of both of you.
Yes, congrats to both.
Austin,
I blame William.
you gave me such a fucking run for my money.
William, if you would have put Cameron on this jury, I'd be a winner right now.
You and everyone else blames me for everything. Get back in line.
You're welcome, Austin. You're welcome.
Not it coming down to my vote.
Of course it did. I didn't try to get Morgan's vote in this game because I wasn't supposed to have to get Morgan or Cameron's vote in this game.
Also,
I am
Oopsie.
That's how the collective works.
just a
am,
little
like,
fun fact that
screaming.
a little fun fact
How,
that
like-
Prod-
Timmy's trying to speak.
a little
Oh,
fun
sorry.
fact that Prod has been holding on to the entire season. The round that Casey went home, if there had been one more of a vote difference to make it tie, the nominees that round, because of the tie rules, would have been Cameron and Austin W, by the way.
That's so funny.
God, thank God. Thank God.
That would have been a gag.
That'd have been good.
That would have been real good.
And Andrew's here.
Andrew is joining us, yes.
Oh my god.
Andrew.
Hi.
Chloe,
Hi.
I love you. Chloe was the vote I got that I didn't expect to get. So thank you,
Hello,
Chloe.
everyone.
Long time no fucking see.
Jonathan, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sorry it took
My
me so
number-
long to get on. My TV was lagged, and I was like, "Don't look at your computer. Don't look at your computer. I want to watch what happens."
It's funny.
My number was
Yeah.
45, by the way.
I was about to ask that.
I was going to say, did you
Yeah.
actually vote for Austin because of the number? But yeah, okay.
Yeah, actually, yes.
And we're about to quickly pull up the awards. I know everybody kind of wants to go to bed, but
Shit, I forgot about the award thing. Congrats, Jonathan.
Thank you,
Haven't
Jay.
seen you in a while, but
Am I staying on live, Timmy?
yeah, you can turn live. You can turn live off.